The Team Never Quit podcast is sponsored by Navy Federal Credit Union. Navy Federal mortgage experts can help you choose the best option for you, making the home loan process a smooth experience. Learn more at NavyFederal.org. What's up, everyone? How's everyone doing today?
Great.
Good. Nice morning. Beautiful day. The weather is
right?
beautiful right now. 55 this morning when I woke up.
Ooh.
I'll take it.
What time did you wake up?
6. Yeah, I got up a little early.
Time did you roll? That's not. Is that what?
What time did I roll out? Like 6:34, roughly.
You can get more done in the mornings than you can in the entire day.
Fair. 100%. 100%. Hey, we've got a Patreon question for you guys. I'd like to kick things off here. What is one thing you would like to never have to do again? One thing you'd like to never have to do again. I was thinking like the dishes. Like if I did not have to do the dishes ever again, I would certainly accept that.
Taxes.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one.
I hate entering in every freaking line item for taxes. It is like literally it sends chills down my spine. I hate it. I hate it so much. And in my family, that's what I am responsible for, entering all of that information. And it's an excessive amount of work, and I absolutely cannot stand it.
Well, she's got
I tried
taxes.
to do taxes once and couldn't even figure it out. Like I don't even know what lines to put stuff on. I'm on your side. On
Yeah.
this. I think the thing I never want to do again is police call on a range. Like if I never have to do a police call again, I'll be a happy man. So
yeah. That's good. What about you, babe?
Death. Okay, if you got taxes, I got death. I don't want to ever have to go through that again. Ever.
It's fair.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Fair.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never
Of course,
experienced it.
hey,
but-
walk downs are terrible.
Yeah.
There's a couple of things down in here, you know. I don't ever want to get kicked in the nuts again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. I don't want that to happen.
Didn't our daughter do it last time?
It's not important who the last person that took me to a knee was, but whatever.
Oh, man. I love a good Patreon question. John, you got anything?
I would like to not ever vomit again.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Not get nauseous.
Getting nauseous
Just
is-
never again. That would be amazing.
That feeling is pretty rough.
I hate that feeling.
Yeah. I've been nauseous for 2 days now. I think I have the flu, but
Oh man.
it's okay.
Y'all get that?
Everyone got quiet.
Yeah. It's
What
okay.
flu?
What flu?
It's not around anymore. I thought the COVID kicked it out of
That's
here.
right.
I
There's
thought it was
flu's
gone.
not real.
COVID whipped
Yeah.
its ass.
Fake news. Oh my
Right.
gosh. Hey guys, check us out. Patreon.com/Team Never Quit. You can ask your favorite question. You can ask whatever question you want. You can get some bonus content. You can get some cool swag, a great challenge coin, a bunch of great stuff happening over there. So check it out. Patreon.com/Team Never Quit. We have got a great guest in store for you guys. Ben Kesling is a
You covered that well.
correspondent. I did. I just great.
Yeah, I thought, yeah.
Like Tony the Tiger.
I have build up.
Yeah, there you go. Just revving up.
Positive,
That's right.
positive reinforcement the whole time here, Ben, with my crew.
That's right.
fantastic. As a Marine, I expect nothing but negative reinforcement. That's what motivates me.
Yeah, sure. And it's not yelling, it's motivating.
That's right.
Marines are great at that. They are.
Yeah.
They're fantastic.
Absolutely.
It's a gift. I think that's
We can-
actually
we can-
one of the things that gets passed
We
down.
can motivate
y'all.
all day long.
All day.
Well, Ben is a correspondent for Wall Street Journal. He obviously focuses on domestic security and veterans issues. He was actually a previously national security and veterans issue reporter at the Journal's bureau in Washington. He also has experience as a foreign and combat correspondent. So, Ben, welcome to the show, man. Excited to have you today.
Thanks very much. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, I looking at your the best part about now as we're out, we kind of progress into other things is when we run into each other, the pedigree, like your resume. Because when we first come in, man, there's not anything in that sucker. But over time, life just haphazardly kind of drops us in these scenarios that when you come out of them, yeah, the experience is one thing, but just the fact that everyone knowing that you went through it is another. So, I mean, well done on everything that you kind of been through in life, man. It's all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. And it's I've been writing for the Journal for like 10 years now. I started doing this when I got out of the Marine Corps, and just to be able to have that background, to have conversations with folks that I'm covering. I mean, as you know, and folks listening and watching know, to have somebody you're talking to know that they've been there, or to know that they speak your language, or at least understand some of the stuff that you're going through, or some of your experiences as you're interviewing them and talking to them. It opens up a whole world, so that those hard-earned resumes that people have really pay off when it comes to doing something like journalism, which is what I do now.
Oh, well, there's a huge difference when the journalists would show up out there with us not wearing the uniform. The uniform was kind of covering their back. You actually put the uniform on your back. Yeah. That's completely, that's like being inside the family and having that hobby, as opposed to having that hobby and trying to cover the family. That's completely different. And when you earn that one immediately. Plus Marines, you know how they are. Right. You guys are your own little deal. It's true.
Yeah, we're fantastic. That's what you meant to say, right?
Right. Hey, look, everyone, I'm always up front that you guys are the ones that saved my ass every time I get in a jam. That's just kind of the way it is. And so I'm allowed to poke back.
Yeah.
All right, man. So where'd you start? Plus, where'd you grow up?
Plus, we got the uniforms, man. So we've got that dress uniform. Like,
if you want to get that out of the way right now, we can. I'll agree with you on that one. That you guys do have the best uniforms.
Yeah,
it's the hands down. There's no debating that whatsoever.
Yeah.
Well, thanks. So I grew up. I was born in Ohio and then grew up in Kentucky. Was a Wildcats basketball fan as a kid and all that. And then went to college, and then oddly enough, went to grad school before I joined the Marine Corps. So I went in as kind of an old man when I signed up, and I don't think there was a whole lot of other infantry officers in the Marine Corps who went and got a Master of Divinity degree at Harvard Divinity School before I joined the Marine Corps, which was a rare thing for somebody to do before becoming an 03 grunt.
Yes, let's talk about that for a second. Was the military thing always in line, or was the faith part first?
Well, I don't really come from like a military family so much. Some of my granddad and my great uncle and stuff like that, they'd been in. My granddad had been a Marine, and he was on Okinawa in some capacity, but he was gone before I could ever really talk to him about it. So I don't know what he did there. He never really talked about it. But the military was never something I wanted to do. And when I left high school, I actually had there's always that classmate in high school who's like they get the high and tight. Like ready to go.
Always one of them in there. Always one of them.
Yeah. So I had a friend on my hockey team who went into the Marine Corps, and I thought, man, that guy is crazy. Why would you want to do that? Like, no way I'm joining the military. That's crazy. But then I went to college, went to grad school. 9/11 happened when I was in college. And then I realized if I needed to do something to contribute to my country and to the war effort. And I signed up for OCS. And I remember when I signed up coming out of grad school, I didn't even know how much you got paid. Like, I didn't even ask what the pay scale was. I was like, hey, just sign me up. Let's do it.
So down to the first recruiter and Marines, because granddad was one?
Yeah, I mean, essentially. And they're, of course, got the uniform, right?
Uniform, I got it. I know. I didn't have to ask the question. I'm just trying to make conversation with that. Everyone gets your uniforms are awesome.
No, but it was, it's one, you kind of wanted to do like the most challenging thing that I could, I guess, and the service that I had some family connection with. So it was the Marines, and I say the Marine officer recruiter in Boston has to have like the easiest job on the planet, because you've got Boston College, Boston University, Tufts, Harvard, MIT. Like I walked into the recruiter and told him I was ready to sign up, and he was like, okay, just fill out this paperwork and come back for PFT, and then there you go. It was a very streamlined process to join up at the time when I joined up.
Yeah, the recruiter gig, I haven't really figured out, and we've been at this a while, you and I. The recruiter gig it's kind of an anomaly, Because if you get in the right spot in the right town, oh man, you never want to leave.
Yeah.
It truly is. And
The
then
recruiter?
you get, yeah.
Yeah.
And they're the best used car salesmen ever. Like when those guys get out, if you have a startup company or something, you need somebody to get the word out or convince you that you're capable of anything or convince you to do a job you don't ever want to do again. They're your guy.
Yeah. Yeah. And somebody to convince you that you aren't necessarily going to go infantry. That's not it. You're not necessarily.
I didn't think about that.
And hey, look, once you get through boot camp, just give it a sec. You'll go on to OCS and be an officer in no time. Like those are two things that they can sell that to you, like,
and they get you to sign up for it.
So.
And they get you to work out and make your muscles hurt. I mean, they make you do everything you don't want to do, and then you have to leave everything you've ever known.
Shout out to your recruiter. Marcus is still friends with his recruiter.
He ain't my damn friend. He's the one who caused all this chaos. Could have been damn devil, man.
Man, I do have a pro. I had never had to do it. So as when you're an officer, you have to do B billets, which is you come out of like whatever your MOS is, and you got to do something else. Right. So for Marines, it's oftentimes recruiting or whatever. And I'm just thankful that my B billet was not recruiting, because I can't imagine that doing the daily slog that those guys have to do.
Oh man,
especially like right now. Oh my God.
In an environment that they're in right now, that's what I'm telling you. Them guys and gals, or Marines especially, but the recruiters, they're something for sure. And the funniest thing is watching a straight up infantry warfighter, somebody like that, get put in that position. You could tell when they're there. You could tell that they don't belong in that spot, dude. And it's the funniest thing to. It's almost like, hey, look, you want to piss Gunny off? Make his ass go over here and try and talk to them kids like he needs them. Dude, it is the funniest thing I've ever seen, man.
My first platoon sergeant, he's like one of the best Marines I ever worked with or ever saw. He is a sergeant major now and is doing recruiting. And I love watching he like puts updates on Facebook and Instagram and stuff, and him just like getting out there and smoking recruits, doing pull-ups until the sun comes up. I mean, he's putting a motivated grunt in charge of recruiting. You can make quota pretty quick, I think.
I'll tell you what, I think probably one of the funniest TV shows that you could ever make would be putting a Marine gunny like that at a Harvard University to recruit people for Marine Corps. I mean, just the comedy that would come out of that joker trying to talk to them kids, especially after the ones we've got, 20 years of 2 wars, some salty son of guns that just hate everything, including the weather. Oh.
So being at Harvard and then going into the Marines, did they give you shit for that?
Yeah, that's like part of, that's part and parcel of it, right? Like, and everybody who's been in knows that your fellow troops will find whatever it is about you they can make fun of.
Whatever.
You can come in there and be like, be a millionaire, and they'd be like, "Oh, look at that jerk millionaire!"
Yeah,
and make fun of you for
that's
it,
true.
That's
right?
true. It's so.
Like if The Rock joined the military and went in there, he's got a perfect smile. If everything's good about you and you're great, we're gonna hammer you for that. That's why they call us the grunts. Hey, no one wants us kind of
look at this guy, this pretty smile.
Yeah. Okay, how about I mess that up for you?
Okay, sorry. So let's hear about when you got in.
Well, it was. Coming in, having that. Having the background of having gone to school for a while first, and then coming in and being a little bit older, I think it was really, really helpful for that first deployment we went on, because I was a platoon commander for a weapons platoon in Fallujah in 2007. So during the surge, when there was we went from having kinetic stuff to, by the end, we were walking down the middle of the street and putting in street lamps.
I remember that. I remember when that changed. And we were there 06, 07. 08 was that big transition. Remember? The fact that you said it just like that, like we went from a real, man, you sleeping in your body armor. I mean, you were going to get hit every time you went out the door, to, man, they were running races down and walking down the middle of the streets and shopping at the souks again. It was something. A big, huge Marine surge that came through there. I was there for that when I started.
Yeah, it was. I mean, so we were the sort of the tactic that was used was over the course of a few hours, we trucked out Marine platoons to different places in the city and sort of set up. They're called joint security stations, right? Yeah. And it was, for lack of a better analogy, like little police stations all throughout the town. And the idea was to kind of super saturate the environment. And along with, well, of course, I say in my book that's coming out that only Marines could try to take credit for changing an entire province's outcome, when it was a lot more than what the Marines were doing. It was what the tribes were doing, what the government was doing. But by the time we left, it was the environment had calmed down substantially, as you know.
Oh yeah, I remember. I mean, that's how we had to do it. If anybody's wondering imagine.
All right, guys, I recently turned 33 years old, and if you're like me, the number of birthday candles just keep going up, and I'm pretty sure that they no longer fit on the birthday cake. I am certainly not getting any younger, and if you don't have a life insurance policy yet, then you should probably check out Fabric. Fabric by Gerber Life was designed by parents for parents to help you get a high-quality, surprisingly affordable term life insurance policy in less than 10 minutes. There are a lot of things out there that are really challenging as a parent, whether it's checking for monsters under your kid's bed, reaching inside their pants pockets and being surprised by what you find, or the undescribable pain of stepping on Legos barefooted. These are all things that I want to have nothing to do with. But there's one thing that you don't want to have be scary again. It is getting life insurance. Fabric's new lower prices mean significant savings over other providers with great quality policies like $1 million in coverage for less than $1 a day. Life insurance can have a bad rap for being complicated, but Fabric makes it easy to apply with its seamless digital experience. It's all online and on your time. And if you need extra support, Fabric's team of licensed insurance agents can answer questions along the way. It takes less than 10 minutes to apply. See your quote and then personalize your quote to fit your family's needs. You could be offered coverage instantly with no health exam required. Fabric has partnered with Gerber Life, trusted by millions of families like yours for over 50 years. They have over 1,600 five-star reviews on trustpilot.com, so you can feel confident knowing that you're going to get a high-quality policy that is perfect for your family. And they've got a 30-day money-back guarantee, so that means you can cancel at any time. Fabric was specifically designed to give parents like you affordable term life insurance, plus wills, access to college savings funds, and more tools to help protect your family's financial future, all in an easy online experience. Protect your family today with Fabric by Gerber Life. Apply today in just 10 minutes at meetfabric.com/TNQ. That's meetfabric.com/TNQ. MEET fabric.com/TNQ. Policies issued by Western Southern Life Assurance Company, not available in certain states. Prices subject to underwriting and health questions.
Roll into a neighborhood here in the United States where there was a lot of turmoil and unrest and people were fighting and like neighbors fighting each other, especially over the blocks. And then they just kind of put us in there, a bunch of us. So there's always one of us standing around, somebody trying to do something bad. That's literally how we had to do that. I mean, it's changed so many different times.
Yeah, it's like beat cops.
Beat copping it, right?
Yeah, it's like being beat cops. Right. So I and after my time doing that, I deployed as an individual augmentee to Afghanistan, worked with the 205th Corps down in southern Afghanistan. I was one of the guys who helped them transition from AKs to M16s and did training and whatnot for that. That was my next deployment. So in a very short span, I got to see platoon operations in Iraq as a platoon commander, and then got to watch stuff happening at the core, like core level stuff as an augmentee in Afghanistan. And it was a fascinating way to see operations from the ground level and from a higher perspective, which a lot of times you don't get, especially as like a a young officer, like a lieutenant, you know?
One of my chiefs explained to me the best. He's like, take away titles, names, and everything that we have, and it's like you and I went on adventures over there. Like our country literally threw us on a boat, and we got to go to Babylon and into the mountains of Afghanistan, where even Alexander got stopped, and see the different dynamics in the way they fight and the way we had to integrate in there at that age is just that's the fact that you hit both those is amazing. A lot of the guys got stuck on one side or the other, but there's a couple of us that got to go back and forth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't get to go back and forth as much as a lot of folks, but did get to see both, and I'm very happy that my that during my time in service I was able to see Iraq and Afghanistan, and it has paid off immensely with me, like kind of fast forwarding to now with me covering the Pentagon and covering the military, because I was able to see those things and can ask practical questions of folks in the Pentagon and folks in Congress and the White House about all those things. But that's one of the tangible benefits of going to both those combat.
Well, I don't think they estimated that either when they sent us in, because the people who are running the show right now are the same ones that are running it when we went in. And then we went in there to both spots. And granted, I mean, we got hit by, I get all that. But all that, everything they ever told us why we had to go in there, the gunfighters, the young kids, we're back and we're grown up. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, if you're going to say something to me about, or say something to you about what fighting's about and why we need to go over there and do that, they better be sure, because you and I are now. I mean, we know what goes on over there. Yeah, now, we had to live there.
The kids that were sent in at the beginning of the war
we're
are now
kids.
The ones running.
Freaking grown now.
Yeah. Now we're middle aged.
Middle age, right? With 2 wars and a pandemic, freaking biblical free. I mean, whatever else you want to throw at us. Well, but some of us made it back.
Yeah.
And we're tired.
We're tired. Yeah. Pissed off, and tired, man.
And it's not all the deployments, and it's not all the combat stress. It's the fact we all got kids now.
That's right.
What makes
That's what happened, bro. You said that famously. I was like, man, where'd all the stress come from? I was looking around, I was like, damn kids, man.
So, what is your? You've got a book that is coming out, the Bravo Company. Walk us through that whole, like, what you talk about in that book.
Sure. So I've got a book coming out called Bravo Company. It's published by Abrams Press, and it comes out on November 1st. And it follows, the sort of thumbnail sketch of it is it follows an army paratroop company, the 2508, and their 2009 deployment to Afghanistan. They went to the Arghandab Valley. They had a pretty rough go of it with IEDs, and then it follows them in their 10 years of coming back from combat, coming back from conflict. So the book, we've all read books about time in combat. A lot of times they're personal memoirs. This one, I'm not in it. I talk about this unit because I wanted to tell their story. I didn't want to tell my story. And as anybody who's talked to a veteran or talked to somebody who's been in knows, by talking to them and getting them to open up to you or telling their story, you tell your own story in a sort of roundabout way. But the book follows the workup, the deployment, sort of the deployment environment. Like it zooms out to about 10,000 foot into DC to see what policies were sending these men, and they were all men at the time because it was 2009. What policies were in place to send these men to where they ended up having to go fight, and then follows them when they get home. The people who have had struggles, the people who have had triumphs, and in between. That's kind of the general thumbnail sketch of the book.
That's awesome. So did you have the support of everybody in it?
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Did you have the support of everybody that was in it?
So I covered this group, Bravo Company. I had gone to one of their reunions a couple of years ago and wrote about it for the Wall Street Journal. And they had a very unique reunion where they were having such issues with support and mental health support about 10 years down the road, that the VA actually decided that they would do a pilot program with them. They would have a reunion where they brought the entire unit together, and veteran service organization paid to have all the men come together, even those who were still on active duty. The Army gave them special leave of liberty to come to the reunion. And the idea was, we often go through our time as veterans as sort of like free floating entities. And I know that anybody who's gone to the VA or knows somebody who's gone to the VA can relate to this. You go in as an individual, right? And whatever you're going through is an individual fight, and you're given an individual therapist with an individual treatment. And it's almost as if we forget that we were part of a team and part of a unit when we deployed, whatever service we were in. And so this reunion that the Bravo Company did, it brought them all together to remind them that they are members of a team, and they need to rely on each other, and they need to support each other. And through that, the sort of strength of the group will bring strength to the individuals. And that's the sort of the impetus of the book. And I went to that first reunion, and then I was able to stick with these guys and talk to the men who are in the unit, with extensive interviews, and talk to some of the survivors of those who had died. And it's a comprehensive piece of reporting, rather than just making up stories.
That's so awesome. So did the VA decide that was a program that they want to continue?
The VA is still not decided whether this is a program that will be that is going to be supported in the long run. It does take some VA support to do these, to be part of these reunions. They bring counselors in to make sure that for Bravo Company, they brought counselors in to make sure that everything didn't devolve into telling old war stories and dirty jokes, which, as anybody who hangs out with,
there's
deployed with.
Think about that.
To that.
If that's the stuff that comes boiling out of there, and with the team guys, we still meet. Like, we still get together and that's what we talk about. And guess what? No one has any problems.
Mm-hmm.
It's like when you keep that stuff bottled up, well, you're just going to think about it. You have to get that out. You either got to write it down. That's why we do that. Or we have to speak that kind of energy and tone out. And the only people that can relate are your buddies. Mm-hmm. I don't know how this happened, but when you sign up, you never get out. Mm-hmm. You may take that uniform off, but your ass ain't getting out. Matter of fact, when you're rotating back to the world, it's like now you're trained. When you're in the military, you're in training. When you rotate back to the world, that means we've said, hey, you're good enough to put your civvies back on. Now go out there and act like a soldier, sailor, airman, Marine, coastie, whatever. But there shouldn't be a gap. I don't know how that happened, but like, we're coming back in the fold. What's the first thing we need to fix?
Well, especially with these wars, because they were so long and intense, and it was nonstop.
You can't tell me that they send us away from our house, which is living in a tent, and we get the best medical treatment. Our guys get patched up. We get all the stuff we need not even home. We're not even at home when that happens. Mm-hmm. So I know when we come back here, it's not a thing, because our average age when we're over there is in our young 20s. Hell, I thought when you were 40 years old, you were almost dead before I retired. I didn't know that 40 was like when you start. I didn't know that. So you see our colonels and generals, and you're like 42, dude's about to die. I love you, Colonel. I mean, you retire, and I'll be at your funeral, bro. You know what? But with us, man, everyone died when we were young.
Yeah.
You know the difference? You know what happened to us? Death. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking about this the other day. I was like, the reason we think the way we do is because of the amount of dying that's been around us. Most people have to wait till they're in their 70s and 80s before they start experiencing their closest friends dying around them. That's why we act the way we do. You can't even help it. You got a merit badge from way up the line that you shouldn't have. That's how that happened. Especially with you and all.
I really like the what you said about you never take off, or even when you take off the uniform, you don't take it off, right? No. Like you're still sort of inexorably tied to the men and women who you serve with, and to the broader veteran community, right? And I write in the book that, hey, at West Point or at OCS, they do a hell of a job of teaching you how to be prepared to lead troops in combat, how to prepare for what combat is like. But what they don't do, and I don't even know if they can do it, is teach you that from the moment you lead those troops, you are tied to them in a way that you can't understand until it's over. And that, like, watching this group Bravo Company and their leadership, their old senior NCO, their old commanding officer is still there. They're still there for them, and it's there for them in ways that they could never have been while in uniform. Because now this is real life, man. There's no like command structure that makes you be respectful to somebody. There's no reason that an officer automatically gets saluted and this senior NCO doesn't get talked back to. Once you're in the real world, you got to rest on your reputation, right? And like, you probably see this when you're doing reunions with people. There's guys who you don't want to give the time of day to anymore, and there's guys who you never expected to step up to the plate.
Yeah.
Maybe when they were in uniform, and now it's like, holy cow, this person's become a rock, right?
Military bearing. Well, you can't take that off. You got to think that when I say you don't ever take that uniform off, like when you get out and you throw your civvies on and you start doing dumb stuff, that you start to feel the weight, because you're not supposed to be doing that while you're in the uniform. You're damn sure not supposed to talk back especially up the chain. That's what I consider my wife the admiral. That's why I yell back at her. You can't cuss the admiral. You can't do any of that. I think about that. So I mean, I got my ass humbled quick. So I pay that respect. I'm center of the hourglass, down and up. But you're right. Mm-hmm. As soon as you get out, I was like, hey, man, you're not out. You're undercover.
Yeah. It's interesting because Marcus is always surrounded by his teammates. I mean, they
always
moved out here. Like,
remember, then I go outside that gate.
Yeah. Their kids go to school with our kids. Like, we're around them all the time. Even from out of town, they come and visit. But I've noticed with other branches, the guys don't necessarily stay as close and get together as often. And this year, the Operation Red Wing anniversary this last year, the Army, what was it, the Green Berets?
And the Rangers, yeah.
The Green Berets and the Rangers that rescued Marcus actually got together on the Army base. What was that for? It was like a debrief. It was the first time in 17 years?
17 years.
That
we'd all been together.
That they brought all of those guys together, including Marcus, like the one that they rescued. And that was a really, really special moment.
I mean, Marcus, what is that like for you to have?
It was
to be a part of that reunion.
Yeah. All right. Hand to God, this is what happened to me. So I was nervous.
You were excited.
I was an anxiousness because I was like, oh man, this is the first time I'd have been around all of them. Mm-hmm. I mean, all my doctors were there, everybody. Mm-hmm. And I tell this story a lot, and when I tell people, a lot of them don't believe me.
The ones that were in the village,
that actually had to come get me
in the village.
They showed up, and when they started telling you what it took to get me out of there, it was 10 times as hard and as worse as I thought.
Yeah, like you have.
I mean, that was.
You have Marcus's perspective of what he went.
All right, John, I got a serious conversation for you.
What you got, Andrew?
I cannot seem to grow a beard.
You cannot grow a beard.
No, dude.
I got enough beard for the both of us.
Yeah,
I've got
for
the
sure.
beard at Beefy.
Yours is pretty impressive, man.
I just go with no shave never is how I do that.
Never quit. I mean,
never quit, never shave.
Never shave. Yeah, this thing over here, bro, I could let it grow for months and months and months, and it would basically still look like catfish whiskers and a few strays.
Just a little stubble.
I mean, it's frustrating. How do you keep up with that thing?
Man, I'm going to tell you, to not look homeless, it requires some maintenance. There is a lot of trimming that goes in and a lot of little tinctures and oils and balms that go into making this thing not go everywhere.
Well, dude, you're going to love the newest podcast sponsor we got, Beard Club. They're here to help, all right? Because they are the leader in beard first men's growth and grooming. They deliver quality hardware and consumables that'll help you get a better, thicker, fuller looking beard.
Fuller beard.
Even for
Ooh.
somebody like me who...
Yeah. I know. I'm looking through this box here and I'm looking at this beard comb. This thing is amazing. I can't tell you how much a good comb really helps with your beard. It really does. And then the balms, that's how I literally don't have like little hairs sticking every which way every day. So that balm really helps keep that beard tamed. And then this other thing here, I think this is for you. I'm just going to give this to you. This is the vitamin growth spray.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to definitely... I need to use this.
Yeah, there you go.
Spray it everywhere. And
Yeah.
hope
And
for
then
the
maybe it'll
best.
grow. Like maybe that's like putting sod on the lawn. You know what
That's
I mean?
right. Yeah. Just a little extra,
Yeah.
like Miracle Grow.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't know if we can claim that,
I
but
don't
I
think we
certainly think that it will certainly help. Maybe fill in some of the patches, get that better, thicker. Maybe a real beard. I want to be able to
real
compete
beard.
with.
There you
I don't know
go.
if you've seen Morgan's beard from back whenever he first got, started working in the White House for the what was he, the Secretary of Energy?
I have not
Dude,
seen those.
all right.
I've just seen Morgan's beard from back overseas pictures.
If y'all Google Morgan Luttrell and you kind of go back into the archives of pictures, there's this picture of him whenever he was serving under Rick Perry.
Oh, I
And
have seen
he's
that
got
picture.
a beast of a beard.
Wow, that is a good beard there.
I need one of those. What about keeping that thing trimmed, bro? I mean, that looks like a lot of
Oh,
hair to keep up with.
As far as cleaning up your beard, it takes a good trimmer. And I have tried the cheapest trimmers and the expensive trimmers, and they seem to pull your hair or the battery doesn't last long enough. But this PT45 trimmer that Beard Club sent us, this thing, it's heavy duty. It feels like...
It's robust. I think it's solid.
Have you ever picked up a grandma's kitchen mixer or grandma's
yeah.
kitchen
It's like-
appliance? That's what this trimmer reminds me of. This is grandpa's razor. You know what I mean?
That's awesome.
This is old school. This is, it's got some power to it.
But some modern tech, right?
But modern tech.
I mean, okay, let's talk about the motor on this thing for a
Yeah.
second. 7,000 RPM motor,
7,000 RPM.
which means no hair pulling.
Yeah, that means it's moving so fast it's cutting, and that's the most painful thing with trimming your beard is you're going through good
Yeah, you don't want, you don't want that.
Yeah,
And it's got a 3-hour battery life, so you don't have to deal with the cables.
I can't tell you how many times I have trimmed half a beard and had to wait a good 45 minutes for it to finish charging so that I could finish the other side.
I wish I could relate, but I just can't. I don't understand. Well, no matter what type of beard you have, Beard Club has got the perfect kit to fit your needs. Beard Club has over 2 million beards served.
Wow.
Even little baby beards like...
Even baby beards.
I don't even know if you call mine a beard, but I'm going to call it that because I want to feel cool, all right? Grow your best beard today and save 20% off your first order when you go to beardclub.com/TNQ. Use our code TNQ. That is beardclub.com/TNQ. Code TNQ. Get 20% off your first order.
You have Marcus's perspective of what he went through. And then there's so many other people that have their perspective of what they went through to get him or to rescue the remains of the fallen. I mean, there were so many different aspects to that mission, but for the Army, for the Green Beret and the Rangers, that was the first time that now we had seen some of them.
Yeah, but not together.
Like one-offs, like.
I
we
mean,
would
it was
meet
like a
up with-
muster. They
Yeah.
pulled us all together in the warehouse. Everyone was in uniform. I mean, the whole
On the
9 yards.
base.
On the base, yeah.
Yeah, it was a really. I didn't get to go, but I was involved with like setting it up, and it was a really incredible.
That's the first time I ever got to tell everybody thank you for coming to get me.
Mhm.
What does that mean? Like, what does that mean for you to be able to, like, did you have a weight
Yeah, I
on
took,
you? Not being able to say thanks?
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. That's exactly. I took a deep breath, and it felt like something was off me.
Mhm.
Did you even know it was there?
I had
Or
no-
was it just
no,
kind
I
of
didn't know it.
like,
I had no idea. Isn't that funny? I had no idea that weight was even on there. I didn't even know it.
It's not. That's not. I mean, that's not unusual. Not. I mean, it seems like, oh man, how could you not recognize that? Like, if you're
I
walking
know.
on the outside, it's like, what a dummy. He should have known that.
How
right?
did you not know
But
that? Like, it didn't.
But I mean, your story is one that I mean, it's incredible, right? It's like it's an incredible story, and it's something that like most of the people who have served maybe don't have that as objectively wild a story,
Right.
But yet, like, and I talk about this in the book, right, is one thing that we can do for each other, and that folks like you can do, is have this like this graciousness to say, look, we're not comparing the depth of the objective trauma that we went through, right? Because we can never know what is in the hearts of our fellow.
Yeah, that's
man,
right. That's right.
Right. And I think that one of the things that is so great about folks when they do reach middle age and are tired as hell because of having so many kids, but when they do reach this age, right, is they can have that perspective to say, look, I can have the empathy for other folks and allow them a spot to be grateful for it, to say that thanks to the teammates, even if it was, I mean, it might have just been a standard infantry employment, but to say, hey, look, you guys have the same weight that I have. Mine is just much more publicly known. But I don't know. I feel like you're in that's a unique spot to be in.
But it's like that's why we name those operations.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if you're in an operation that has a name, it's like you're in that operation, like on the table.
Yeah.
Everyone carried that weight.
Well, like your Bravo.
Yeah, I mean, they all feel that. No matter if one of the guys goes through it, everyone's going to carry some of that weight, for sure, man. And I think one of the greatest things is because I know how hard things are to obtain. Watching everyone else come get me and going through the numbers to get in there and do all that, and you see them and they're like, oh, I didn't do nothing. I was like, man, not from my point of view.
Mm-hmm.
Not from my vantage, where I was sitting on my cliff with my angle. I was like, not only did you do your job, I mean, you did it because you couldn't see some of the variables that I could see. They get eliminated for you when you're doing your deal. That's the blessing about having your boys around you. They'll come up and tell you like, hey man, I don't know if you know you did that, but it was, I mean, like, good job. I was like,
Well, and back to your point of like not comparing trauma. I mean, it's not about that. It's about the camaraderie and sharing that when you're out. Like,
that's how messed up the military is.
Yeah,
we only compare our traumas.
We had on the podcast a few weeks ago, Jeff Peterson, aka Spanky. He was the pilot that came in and actually pulled him out. And just his experience, his perspective on it. And when he was here, he was like, I didn't have to go through what you went through, like, comparing trauma, but it was traumatic for him.
Like,
it was a completely different kind of trauma. And and even if it's not trauma, like, let's not just slap a negative term to it. It's shit. They went through some shit.
Yeah, man.
And
everybody got a big old bite of it.
Yeah.
I don't know how you want. Did you want to taste mine? It tastes just like yours.
Yeah. And
and you're right. It's not. I mean, to talk about it as trauma, right? Like when we say somebody's experienced some sort of trauma, we automatically assume that it's going to immediately bring about something negative.
Yeah, right.
But there's post-traumatic growth as well, right?
Yes.
And also, like, there's traumas we go through just by living our lives, like we all have loved ones die. We have failures, professional and personal failures. Those are all forms of that, right? Not to make it sound like everybody should be everybody should be coddled at all times or something, but we never know what's going to affect someone positively or negatively, right? And like the stuff that you have been able to endure, somebody else maybe couldn't do it for a minute, but I guarantee they're doing something in their life. That you damn sure don't want to do. Probably taxes, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Hey, there you go, right there. I'm like, hey, we'll go out there and get shot at if you do these taxes. Okay, how about that? I mean, I'll sweeten the deal a little bit. I'll work outside and mow the yard too, if you just do the paperwork.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
deal.
Trauma is like such a therapy word, and so that's why I changed it to shit, because it doesn't need to be this like, oh, poor pitiful me thing. It's yeah, and that's really what Team Never Quit, like why we started this. It's persevering through hard times. Yes, you have all gone through something. It doesn't matter what it was. Could be war, could be divorce, could be cancer, whatever it is.
Hell, if it's something we never even heard of.
Yeah, I mean, it
You're the
could,
one
or
going through
could
it.
be like the Herzogs in Connecticut, the rare disease.
I mean,
like
if you're an
could literally
anomaly,
be anything, as long as you persevere through that and have some sort of growth and
set the example.
And setting the example to move forward, then we're all here, and we need that support system. So
I really liked Marcus, what you said about being able to say thank you to folks, and how you need, you alluded to the idea that having your group around you, your friends, they can tell you what you're doing well, right? Or do, like, at one point I say in the book, no man is an island. We're not doing this on our own. And you need people around you who love and care for you and understand you, on one hand, to call you out on your bullshit and tell you what you're doing wrong.
You got to have them.
But also to people to say, hey, you're doing this stuff. You're doing something right. You're doing something well, and you're not giving yourself full credit for it, right? And I think that's sort of kind of what you were talking about, being part of that group and being around your team, and being able to have that reunion with people who understand you, that you can talk to. It's not something to take lightly, to have that support network.
I don't know why we do this, but when we do this. But think about it like this. Think about the weight. So I got into that situation. Our team got in there, but the boys who had to come get me out, everyone knew who they were in the middle. I mean, like, hey, if they didn't successfully get me out of there, you can bet your ass they would. I mean, it'd been all over the place. Mm-hmm. I don't know why we do it this way, but we do. The stress that it took to get me out of there probably exceeded the amount of stress I went through in that gunfight, because they were in one to get me out too. I mean, and they had one left. They had one pin left. Everything, all the other ones were gone. And they had to come get those. Yeah. They had to police their brass.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the way, you know what I'm talking about. What I mean by that is they had to come pick, we don't leave anything behind. Yeah. I mean, not people, our product, anything. So the boys, they had to go back in and see that. Mm-hmm. Then there's the weight of them not being there when we went through it. I don't know why that happens to us, but it does. It's something with the uniform, I think. I can't figure that out. I don't know why we have that. It's not maybe it is one of our curse or burdens, whatever. But it's a real thing. Like, if one of my brothers or sisters gets killed over somewhere, I'm immediately like, man, damn it, I wish I was there. I could have, we do that. Especially if you have a skill. But those guys.
Yeah, and you said it's a curse or burden, right? But like, I think that again, like, once you're in middle age, and we're a little bit older, we've gone through time in service, and have our own experience, and now we're living in the real world and have all the stuff that life brings to you, and you realize that a burden isn't it's not a curse, right? It's just like, it's what life gives you and what you're able to hold, what you're able to do, and a burden, like, it can be a curse, but it can also be a blessing, right? And like, to have, and burden maybe even isn't the right thing, maybe just a load, or something you have to carry.
Yeah, it's like lifting weights. Like, okay, so at a young age, you're going into the gym, and all those exterior weights that you come on, no matter what situation puts on you, if you can hold it, when you get older, you'll have the strength from lifting that weight. And people will know that. They'll see you're stronger. You'll feel it. You'll look like it. You'll carry it. That's a great way of saying that. I didn't.
And it's of course not just like physical stuff, right? It's all the ability to carry your own like emotional weight, emotional experience, but to help other people work through theirs as well, right? Because again, we're part of a team, no matter what.
Could you say that's the heaviest weight, or is someone else's you're trying to carry? That's how you know you're really lifting something. If you're out there trying to lift somebody else's weight with them, trying to help them through their day, man.
Yeah, There's one of the men from Bravo Company that I talk about in my book. One of the things that it both propelled him and kept him strong as he was going through he had horrible physical issues, deteriorated back and like nerve stuff, and kind of guy who's just in pain all the time from jumping out of too many airplanes and humping too much weight. Yeah. And he had this, his wife was always there for him. His wife was like an ever-present rock upon which he could build things. And he knew that like he had to get better for her because she was there. She was constant for him, so he had to be constant for her. And they like use this almost as like I don't know, like to use like business terminology or something, like a synergistic strength, right? And instead of having the things that we carry bog us down and make us weaker, it can reinforce it, make it stronger. Like you said, like you lift those weights and over time you get stronger. Well, you know, you're lifting weights you're lifting like emotional weights for your wife, for your kids, for whomever, and they're doing the same for you, and it reinforces it. And again, it goes to me, it goes back to showing us that anytime we try to do something by ourselves in this world, it's a fool's errand. Oh, yeah. Like we're always a member of a team.
Yeah.
Like you did when I heard it said, birds get carried by the air, fish get carried by the water. People, you should get carried by your day. If you turn around and try and lift that sucker by yourself, or lift whatever it is, man, it's too heavy.
Yeah.
It can be too heavy. That's why you got spotters. I mean, friends with you, next to you. Some of them are actually designed for the situation to where it's nothing for them. But if I try to get into it, no matter, and I'm sure you've seen this, bro, no matter how good we get at something, there'll always be a new situation for us. And there'll be that one person that can do it because it's a grace. It's a gift from God for them. And with us, it's a hit in the face. And we'll try to go in there and get it done no matter what. And that's just part of it. That's the irony of life, man, living down here. Some people have some skill sets that you won't possess.
And you know, you said you connect with your team a lot, and you're lucky to have that sort of continuity of people who care for you and you can share those experiences with. And there's a lot of people who, when they get out, they really, they don't go to union reunions. They feel like they're doing their own thing and moving through this world on their own. And it's why even what we're doing right now is providing a new community in the veteran space, right? Like by dint of you and I talking to each other, across hundreds of miles away from each other, but we're creating that veteran support community by talking and having other people be involved with this by listening to the words we say and thinking through it and being part of the conversation with us. Like it's our duty to keep that uniform on when we're out and to provide that network and that support group for fellow men and women who maybe don't have that ready-made unit reunion like some units who stick together have. So it's a righteous cause that we all have to do.
Absolutely. I 100%. I didn't mean to cut you off. My wife's great at that because she lets me get back with my buddies to go hunt. Mm-hmm. To put that uniform back on, grab my rifle, we go out in the middle of nowhere and hunt. Just like we did when we were overseas.
Or go fishing or whatever.
That's still hunting. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just like, it's the thrill of that. I mean, no matter what, we'll play paintball, ride around a truck, sit around. I mean, just as long as we're together doing that, whether we got a rifle, a fishing pole, whatever it is. And it's like, because guys laugh and you nailed it. They'll call you out. Like the other day, I was sitting around at a table with some people sitting around, and half my crew was there. And somebody haphazardly asked me what I do for a living now. Like, what do you do right now? I was like, I'm a cattle rancher. And my buddy, without even missing a beat, sits back, puts his fork down and goes, hold on now. There's a big difference between cattle ranching and having cattles.
Like, no.
I was like, wait, hold on now. I work my ass out, but it doesn't matter. I mean, like, I'd have to have 5,000 head of cattle and bust my ass sun up, sundown to consider myself a full-on cattle rancher.
On horseback.
On horseback, not on my four-wheeler or the thing. You know, no matter how busted up I've been, no matter how much I try and shortcut, no matter how many cows I got, they'll always be like, look here, man, you'll never be any better than we are right now. And I love that. There's only one or two guys that ever do that to me. And they're the ones that always do it. You know what I'm talking about? And you have to have that. And without it, I think we would, I don't think life would be worth it.
It's taken me 12 years to realize to get Marcus's attention sometimes, I just have to call him out on shit.
Just call me out on it. I'll be like, well, yeah, man. Because you can see it. Forward. If you're if you're head to toe legit, the minute someone calls you on something, you're like, yeah, you're right.
That's the truth. I mean, and you know, when you have somebody like when you're with your boys out hunting or fishing or whatever, you know, you have the ability to call each other out, and you probably, because you know each other so well and have been around each other so long, you can like, you know, if somebody makes fun of you for like, oh, hey, yeah, you're, you know, difference between being a rancher and having cattle,
right.
Like it's you can say something to each other, call each other out and make fun of each other, but then like unpack that conversation a little bit. If you have, you know, that community is trustworthy and trusting enough. And, you know, I think we need to cultivate the ability to do that.
That's the best.
To do that for our fellow veterans, you know?
Especially the guys, man, that's how you keep them straight.
Mm-hmm.
And the laughter that comes out of that, because everyone laughs, first of all, when someone throws one out like that. But if you can laugh at yourself because of it, you're like, oh, dude. Immediately, there's a peace that comes with that.
Hey, maybe you need to do like an online Zoom muster with just inviting
Y'all aren't ready for my friends yet. No, you don't want to meet them.
Veterans.
You're not ready for it.
You're not ready for it. Do like a Google Zoom, like open it up and just have.
Well, we're starting that. That's what he's talking about right now. This
but wouldn't
space.
that be cool? Like creating a space that's free. You know, like it's not part of a freaking foundation.
No, the Zoom space.
Anything.
That's basically
it's
what we're
just
talking about.
Like creating this online.
Yeah.
Everybody hop on, whoever wants to, and just have this veteran.
Look, I think the best part about it was we were together, because you can also feel the energy when you're in there and kind of laugh. I mean, this is one thing, but like if we were sitting around, because these guys would start doing their own thing, and then you'll see what they like and like what they're all about. I mean, completely different animals in one pen.
Marcus loves a fire pit.
Yeah, that's the thing. You start a fire at the end of the night, man, and guys will sit around and you'll hear life.
Yeah, it doesn't take too long. Once that sun goes down.
Once sun goes down,
fire's going. Something happens.
Something happens, yeah.
Ben, what kind of impact do you feel like your book's going to have, or you would like it to have on the people who read it?
So I'm hoping that Bravo Company, the book, I hope that allows people who have never been, never served, who have never been in uniform, who have never been in a combat zone, can understand what it's like, the feelings, the sounds, the smell of being in combat, and I also hope that it helps family members of people who have deployed. It's the sort of thing that I want to be able to say if, say, as a spouse who doesn't quite understand what. You know, if there was a spouse in a combat zone, that person who was home waiting for them, they don't quite understand what happened or what I was all about. And maybe there's some communications issues. I want this to be kind of book that I could hand to that spouse and say, read this. And I think it'll help you understand some of the things that your husband or your wife in that combat zone saw and experienced and will always be going through. Like, it's not necessarily a bad thing. Again, as we talk with trauma, for lack of a better word, but it's something we go through, and this can help explain that. And then finally, I hope that for people who have been there, that this book can help give some language and some explanation for feelings and things that we've gone through by being in a combat zone, and can show that it wasn't, you know, some of the things that we thought were unique aren't unique. They're universally experienced things. Whether it's the feeling of wondering about your mission, like hey, who am I fighting here? Who are the bad guys? Like, is this farmer just trying to live his life and like deal with his family, or is he a hardcore Taliban? Like, what? Just to try to think through some of those things.
I remember that.
Anyway, I hope
that
this
exact
book
thought.
does that. Yeah,
That exact thought.
yeah.
I remember that happening to
mean,
me.
Yeah, one of the guys in the book is I talked to him, and he said, hey, if some of these farmers, maybe they were just pissed that there were a bunch of Americans like on their land. Like, maybe they weren't really Taliban at all. They didn't care. They just would rather not be there. Because he was like, man, imagine if imagine if a bunch of well-meaning Afghans came over and
you can't do that to them. You can't flip that like that on
No.
that will drive them crazy. Because just think about that. If I walk on my neighbor's yard, he'll take a shot at me.
Yeah.
I mean, Americans are funny like that. One thing we don't like is the taste of our own medicine. We don't like that crap, man, at all. But I remember that same thought. Walking through there one day, we were in a channelized area, and I peeked my head over, and there was a guy there. He was working on one of those little huts. He was putting those reeds back through there. And it thought to my head, man. I was like, man, I should blast that fool right there. Because, I mean, it's obviously we're in the middle of it. There's in the Taliban here and this, that, and the other. And I was like, wait a minute, he's out here doing his own thing. And I'd be pissed if people were coming on my yard all the time. We got yelled at in Italy the other day for cutting through a pasture. We didn't even know it was a pasture. I guess some dude yelling at me and screaming at me. I didn't know I'd done anything. I had no idea I'd done something wrong.
He was screaming at Marcus
Yeah.
when we were walking on his land. We had no idea.
And so not knowing I'd done anything wrong, I turned around, someone screaming at me. I was like, what's up? You know what I mean? And I mean, so think about that, because we don't.
Yeah.
I'm like, life can throw you head to head with another bull when you're not even supposed to be messing around with each other, kind of deal. When you're hot headed and young, if we didn't have those officers above us, especially think about that. When I was studying Alexander the Great the other day, the average age of the men rolling through that time period were in their early 30s, late 20s, kind of deal. You remember how we were at that age? If those were the elders, 33 being a damn elder, that's terrifying. No reason nothing ever got done, man, because the minute we stopped fighting, we'd start again. I mean, dude.
I mean, and being able to sort of flip that perspective around, right? Is from a practical perspective, we got to red game stuff, right? Like, you got to have red teams to be the bad guys, right? Well, why can't we do that? Thinking through the way that civilians look at us and have a deeper thought on that. It's hard to do.
That's hard.
It's hard to.
That's a hard one
to think through that. But
that dude, that's real hard, actually.
Do you plan on writing any more books?
there's no dearth of stuff to write about. And
hold on, man, you're a 2-day Jeopardy champion as well, man. You got plenty of stuff to go on. I just want to throw that out there, by the way. I think that's one of the coolest.
Thanks.
That's pretty cool.
I mean, hey, bro, just off record. I don't know
that.
if we had to put this in there or anything, but I thought, man, that's pretty. That
The
was
Jeopardy
awesome.
thing?
Yeah, that dude.
Out
Out of
your
all
whole
your other
resume.
stuff, don't get me wrong. All this stuff makes you man you are.
Hey,
100%. But the
and you
Jeopardy
wanna
thing's
hear
kind of like a qual.
the worst part about that is I lost I won 2 games, right? And I lost the 3rd game. And you know why I lost? I lost because I didn't answer in the form of a question.
Oh, are you kidding me?
No, I'm not kidding. I got it right. It was like
Technicality.
Another damn
the
technicality.
category was like Latin, and this Latin term came up, and I was like, I got that. I said it. And it was like, ooh, you didn't answer a formal question. I was like, come on, man.
Sucks.
So anyway,
Dang. What was
Way
that?
to go.
Good time? That was a good time, right? It had to be.
yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah,
Jeopardy. There's game
yeah.
shows and there's
It
Jeopardy.
was. I mean, yeah, and this was like, this is back in the Alex Trebek days and all that stuff. So
I missed that, man.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
It was cool, right? Alex is the man, right? It was that.
He was like, I mean, Alex Trebek he was by everybody's report, he was just like a good dude.
Good dude, right?
And
That's awesome.
it's just like a loss.
The fact that
yeah,
Marine,
Jeopardy's
if a
pretty
Marine says that, if a Marine just straight up, like, it has to say it just like that. Good dude.
I wouldn't Marcus and I want to go on Family Feud. That's the thing that we watch all
I'm not
the
smart enough to be on
time.
Jeopardy.
Stick to Family Feud.
Love freaking
We do.
Family Feud.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Steve
it's
Harvey,
our-
man, he's got a great show.
Yeah, that's our thing that we
Solid.
watch.
So good.
Well, how can our listeners support you? Are you on social media, or how do they buy the book?
Yeah, so I'm you can find me on Twitter at bkesling. I'm on Instagram at ben.kesling. And the book's available now through any bookseller. Bravo Company is the name of it. And I'll be doing a little bit of travel around the country when it comes out, around its release. But I really do hope that anybody who's in the veteran community or adjacent to it, I really think that I think that it will inform your service, a family member service, a friend's service by reading it. And it's going to be out in hardcover and the audiobook version as well. I read the audiobook, so hey, if you like my voice, tune into that.
Good job.
But it's available on both those platforms.
I wish Marcus would have done that. Wasn't a thing when Lone Survivor came out. That kind of started around 2010 with people reading their own books. But
Yeah.
the guy who reads, which whoever you are, I'm very sorry for saying this, but he has a Boston accent.
Oh, that's what gets everybody as a Southern
And
accent. But
I can't stand
yeah,
it.
It's never too
I'm
late.
like,
yeah. I'd have to work on it too because
I think
apparently I
Marcus
mumble a little bit. I don't think that I
You
do. That's
do
called
mumble.
that I-
talking in cursive. All right.
Yeah.
First of all, it's not mumbling.
But the
elegant.
guy who reads Lone Survivor on the audio has the worst Boston accent, and
If I'd have thought about it, I'd have got the frontline guy.
he goes, "Yow."
You know the
for
guy
y'all."
from Frontline?
Yeah.
I'd have got him.
Yeah.
I could listen to that guy tell a story all day.
The dude who does like the movie previews.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, them
you know,
guys. Give me the
yeah.
voice real fast.
This summer,
That guy.
one man, Ben Kesling,
See?
Bravo Company.
Oh man.
The
Oh, hey, bro,
problem is,
we're
like,
gonna do all
if
we
you-
can.
If you read it, the book would be like 20 hours long.
That's right, for
If you
sure
read the
it would
book.
be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it would just be
Segments.
the slowest book ever. But
That's a great point.
Well, we can't wait for your book to come out, and we hope all the listeners look into it. Bravo Company, and follow him on Twitter
Yeah.
and Instagram.
Thanks again, brother, for doing this, coming on,
Yeah,
man. God
thank
bless
for
you,
coming
man.
on.
Take care of yourself.
hey, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. I enjoyed the conversation, and yeah, let's just keep this wider community a community. We owe it to each other, right?
Yep, roger that. We will.
Awesome.
Just getting
Thank
started.
you.
All right, man.
Thanks, Ben.
Pleasure.
Enjoy yourself, man.
All right. Thanks, y'all.
Bye.
That's good stuff, brother. Good job on the act back there getting it done.